In an effort to talk about more of the legendary lords or special characters from the tabletop that haven't quite made it into Total War Warhammer 1 and 2, I want to take a little segue away from our recent 2 Empire gentlemen and take a step back to our dwarf folk. I was going to do my very first greenskin lord, but you know, this guy just spoke to me. And I think that a lot of people are really curious about what or who Josef Bugman is, you know, the master brewer, the gentleman in charge of Bugman's Rangers. So let's talk about Josef Bugman here today, the mysterious master brewer. We're going to go into his little, it's got a very small lore blurb about him actually, but then we'll go into his magic items and how his role is, because his role would be a little bit different from the other, sorry, that's my 8th edition book clattering around here. His lore's a little bit different, or I'm sorry, his mechanics are a little bit different from some of the other lords that we're used to in the Dwarf Army. You know, the Dwarf Army, or the legendary lords of the Dwarf Army at least, have a very specific role. You've got, you know, Ungrim, who's this slayer. You've got Belagar, who's just outright a tank and takes so much damage. Grombrindal, who is a bit of a duelist, you know, he kind of fits a lot of different roles. And then you've got the mighty Thorgrim himself, who is this very, very central, strong legendary lord that is a bit of a tank, and it does support his army as well. So Josef would be a little bit different here. So let's talk about the mighty Bugman, mysterious master brewer. Josef Bugman is the most famous master brewer of all time. This is really saying something, for dwarfs take their ale seriously, and there are many famous brews and renowned brewers. Yet still, the name of Bugman stands as a paragon of quality. A member of the Dragonback clan, after the fall of Ekrund, Josef's relatives set up a stout brew house in the foothills of the Grey Mountains. A moderate success, the brewery took off after Josef took over, with triumphs like Bugman's XXX, that's 60, and the notorious Troll Brew. Yet, at the height of its ale's growing popularity, disaster struck. While returning from a delivery, Bugman arrived at his brewery to find it a smoldering ruin. Goblin raiders had wrecked the brewery, drank its ale, and kidnapped Bugman's living relatives. In those ruins, Bugman swore a mighty vengeance, resolving to hunt down the Greenskins and rescue his kin. He and his companions went off into the wild and were not heard of again for many years. Rumors began to crop up around the Karaz Angkor of tattered and blood-stained rangers who arrived before major battles. Keeping to themselves around the campfire, a strange glint in their eyes and their hands clasped around tankards of precious ale. Not a whole ton to know about him, but I mean, we can talk a little bit about his past. I mean, Josef Bugman was in the 6th edition Army book, and he was in the 8th edition book. The 7th edition kind of skipped over him, and he kind of got a little bit of a nod at the end, or in the End Times itself. We do know, we've kind of talked about this in our Dwarf End Times video, but we know that Gortrek, from Gortrek and Felix, and Josef, I don't even care about saying Josef, but Josef Bugman, they were shield bearers to Grombrindal at the very end, the final battle, when all grudges are made to be ungrudged, you know, or all grudges are amended, whatever the hell it is, I can't think of the word of. But we kind of know he got a good send-off in that kind of sense. He has a big rivalry with Night Goblin Big Boss Git Guzzler. That was the one from the White Dwarf campaign called Bugman's Lament. That's one of the very first times that we see Josef Bugman, because that actually, the scenario this talks about, it is that exact scenario where Joseph's brewery gets completely, Bugman's brewery gets completely destroyed by the big boss Git Guzzler. But Josef himself is a little bit more of a support lord, in that he wouldn't be an outright, it's runesmith. A runesmith, you know, has got a lot of support capabilities, obviously. He's not the most stout damage dealer, but Josef would be a little bit more of a damage dealer. He would be a range lord, which would be our very first actual legendary lord that would be range for the dwarfs, because he is a ranger. You can actually, in the tabletop, you can upgrade one of the rangers, if he's in your army, to Bugman's Rangers. That's how you get your legendary lord. That's how you get your Regiment of Renown, Bugman's Rangers. They don't have anything as cool as they do in Total War Warhammer, to be totally honest. I think Total War Warhammer does a really good justice to them, and how they have that ability to just completely reduce range resistance and just completely gib something really fast. I mean, Bugman's Rangers, I think, are one of the most terrifying aspects of a Dwarf roster if you take anything of any kind of size. But he has the ability to upgrade those Bugman Rangers, but this really cool ability he has is called Liquid Fortification. And the way it works in tabletop is it's got basically 3 results: Bad Brew, Belligerent, and Leathered. And each one of those results has either two of them are perks, and one of them is not so good. So it'd be interesting to see this be put into Total War Warhammer. For instance, Bad Brew. Some ale doesn't travel well, and guzzling it produces detrimental effects of an unpleasant nature, meaning that the entire unit or whoever's targeted with it becomes flammable, like Tomb Kings. So maybe that would be a little hard to use. The way I kind of think of it is almost like the potions or the way the poisons are done for both the Dark Elf Assassin and the Dark Elf Witch Hag Queen, and as well as the Skaven Assassin. So something like that, where it's like, okay, these are a quick little shot of some sort of buff. Like Belligerent, this unit works themselves into a fit of remarkable cantankerousness, in which case the entire unit becomes stubborn, which it helps out their leadership as always. Then Leathered is the last ability here. Downing ale prodigiously, the unit becomes almost inured to pain, if not sensational together, meaning that they grow in toughness. So you can maybe look at this as like a bonus to melee defense, or melee armor, just armor outright. I think would be a better. No, I think melee defense is a better representation of toughness in Total War Warhammer. So maybe he has these 2 abilities in conjunction with the next one we're about to talk about. But maybe he can use Belligerent and Leathered as actual activatables that he can say, okay, this unit that's about to flee, boom, they're stubborn. Or this unit that's really getting hit on hard, by a bunch of dudes in a club, like, oh, hello, pretty lady, but really getting just hammered really hard. You can use Leathered on them, boom, their melee defense goes up a little bit. Then we've also got Stout Courage, which means that any unit he joins means that they're immune to fear and terror. Dwarves don't really have that much of an issue with leadership as it is, but it'd be interesting to see some mechanic where maybe he has an aura around him or an activatable around him that gives things immune to psychology or something that helps them. Again, this is going to be a very support-oriented lord. And his 2 magic items we're about to talk about, one is just kind of kisses that support roll right on the pucker. So, Old Trustworthy, Bugman bears a large rune-covered axe, obviously an ancient heirloom of great prestige. The old ranger won't reveal its true name, but refers to it as Old Trustworthy. And the way that this works, obviously, is it's just going to give him some armor piercing, and it's going to make him hit harder. So you would definitely see that as an AP characteristic, maybe even an anti-large for him in melee combat. His range, I think, would stick with the Bugman Rangers range, which is, that AP. I believe Bugman's Rangers are great weapons, which are anti-large as well. So maybe it would just kind of fall in line with that as well. But it also gives him some strength, so maybe it would give him an overall buff to his melee attack and or weapon strength as well. That would make a lot of sense to me. But then he's got this last magic item here, Bugman's Tankard. A family treasure, and any who quaff from the tankard are engulfed in remembrances of the glorious past. After a long haul upon its contents, the drinker feels refreshed and restored. Oh, so Jack Daniels. Just talking about Jack Daniels. So Bugman's drinks Jack Daniels. It's open and shut case, Johnson. Boom. I can make Bugman's brewery myself. Fuck it. Or maybe not. So exactly what Bugman's Tankard does here is it's a heal. It's a very small heal. The Imbiber immediately recovers D3 wounds, but cannot surpass his wound characteristic, which is something obviously we don't need to worry about. But there are no units in the Dwarf army that can heal. And that is true of tabletop and everything like that. So this would be a really amazing way, at least I think it is. I cannot remember the runes of old. One of them I'm sitting here looking at the runes in the weapons rune section. And I honestly never played Dwarfs, and I cannot remember if there's an actual healing rune, but I don't remember there being one. If you guys, of course, that did play Dwarfs, please holla at me. But still, Rune of Perseverance, that's a word save. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Totally got off track. But either way, the point of it is that our Rune Lords and our Rune Smiths obviously don't have a heal. So this would be a really cool way to bring a heal into Total War Warhammer. Obviously, Josef, or for the dwarfs at least, Josef Bugman is a hero. He's a legendary hero, not a legendary lord. And this kind of goes off the same motif that we've been repeating with Ludwig Schwarzhelm and the such, that I think that we're due for some really cool legendary heroes. Tretch Craventail is a legendary hero, and they've made him a lord. I don't really agree with that. I wish they had kind of made him just a really kind of cool hero. I think I would have enjoyed that a little bit more, but I do like how they used and created Clan Rictus. So it's like that double-edged sword here. With Josef Bugman, he doesn't have his own faction. He doesn't have his own kind of like, you know, army outside, or throng as it is, aside from Bugman's Rangers. So again, I'd be very excited to see him in a capacity where he can come alongside a Belagar. Oh man, imagine him healing Belagar with a runesmith. God, it's like I just made the most OP speculation ever. Jesus. So that's something I think would be really cool, really different. We'll talk about some of the other lords here in this book in the coming videos here. I really want to go into Grim Burlockson, who is a legendary engineer lord, and Thorek Ironbrow, who is a legendary master rune lord as well. So I think we've got a lot of really good options to talk about with the dwarfs, and I want to start cracking into the greenskins with y'all. Since I don't really play them that much, I feel like it's only fair to really kind of give you guys the good lore treatment on them. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video here in our little foray into Josef Bugman. If you guys have any other comments, or you want to help me out with that rune question of, do the dwarfs have a rune that heals in tabletop? We know they don't in Total War. Holla at me. Go ahead and put that in the comments below. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, like, thumb me good and hard, and follow me on Twitter, follow me on Twitch. Just do all the stuff I always say. Thanks for watching here today, guys. Have a good one. Oh, and Sunday we'll be doing a stream of something. I can't tell you, but it's something fun and good. Be there on Sunday. Sunday's gonna be fun. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one. Bye.